Thank you very much, colleagues. Kindly come back. That 7 minutes is gone. Remember, I gave you 5 plus 2. Please come back. Colleagues, check outside if our people are coming back. They mustn't run away. Shem, we are angry. Colleagues, please come back. Our program is proceeding now. Are they sleeping over? Are they sleeping over? Barona, they're sleeping over. Yeah. Please guess up colleagues, kindly confirm if we can proceed. We can have a nice working tea. Thank you very much, Chairperson. We are proceeding with our program. Oh, thank you, as you settle. Allow me to call to the podium Councillor John Mpi, the Chairperson of SALGA. Thank you very much.
To the chairperson or the facilitator of the session, allow me to say all protocol observed. I am not Councillor Mpe, as mentioned, but my name is Lidile Sebati. I'm the provincial head for SALGA, and I have submitted in writing substantial reasons why the chair cannot be here. He's on an international mission and just arrived last night. So he had requested me to stand in on his stead, if that is acceptable to the commission.
Thank you so much. We noted the written submissions that we received timelessly by the Commission. We accept those written submissions. You then may take the podium, but before you do that, let me just swear you in. Will you be then taking an oath or be taking an affirmation?
I'll be taking the oath, Commissioner.
Thank you. Do you swear that the evidence you're about to give, to the best of your knowledge and belief, is the truth but nothing but the truth?
I do swear.
Do you have any objection in taking the prescribed oath?
Not at all.
Do you consider the prescribed oath to be binding on your conscience?
Yes, I do.
If so, raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
You may take the podium.
Thank you very much to the chair of the session and to the House at large. As I mentioned, my name is Lidile Sebati. I'm the provincial head administratively of Salga. As mentioned, my chair is out of the country. Sorry, he's back in the country last night from an international mission with Salga to promote economic development for our province. So I think as my preamble to the presentation, I'm just going to just try and give an overview of what Salga does so that we understand then the role based on the request that was made for us to appear before the Commission, that we are an autonomous association established according to the Constitution, and we are set with a clear role and mandate to represent, promote, and protect the interest of municipalities. So it pained me when I was sitting there looking at my members being taken through to explain precisely what their relationship with mines are. So our role is really to provide that type of support to our municipality. So strategically, we represent their interest on the systems of government and as a whole in supporting our members to fulfill their developmental obligation in the main. So our mandate talks to, we lobby on their behalf. So that is how we protect their rights. We advocate and represent them where we need to. And we are also an employer body. So we serve as a broker between the workers and the employer themselves. And we also do the capacitation of our municipalities. When you are listening to the IDP process as it unfolds, it is owned by councillors and politicians. So part of the responsibility we have is to ensure that our politicians have the capacity needed to discharge of such mandates as handling public participation. We support and also advise, which is what you will hear from the majority part of my presentation, and we do strategic profiling, where we talk about successes within the local government space. And of late, what we really have realized works most is sharing knowledge and peer learning amongst our members, where we're saying successes that are within local government are shared broadly so that others can learn from each other. So in talking to our mandate, I want to specifically talk to economic development, because what we are seeking to do here is the role of Salga in protecting mining communities.
Apologies for interjecting. Your speech is moving so fast that those of us who take a bit of time to capture what you're saying are unable to capture. You can just take a moment and then take it from there so that we can just capture you properly.
Thank you, Chair, and please continue interjecting me. My mind is rather on a Boeing 707 speed. So, on dealing with economic development issues, we subscribe ourselves to Section 152 of the Constitution that talks about the call for local government to promote social and economic development. So our involvement in this process speaks to that particular provision of the Constitution. And the white paper as well talks about that we are not, and I must emphasize that, we are not directly responsible for creating jobs, but we are responsible for taking active steps to ensure that the overall economy and social condition of the locality are conducive to create an employment opportunities. So our responsibility as government is to create an conducive environment for others to do precisely that. And in doing that, our municipalities are charged with ensuring that from a geographic space, the policy called Spatial Planning and Land Use Management Act, acronym SPLUMA, has been put in place to clearly outline from a spatial perspective how spatial development should take place. And this will talk ultimately to the settlement patterns, to the different land uses, including the mining. I think when you heard in the morning how communities were talking about how land use functions have been interjected with mining activities. This is one specific law that our municipalities have actually developed bylaws guided by it to clearly articulate how land should be regulated within municipalities. So in essence, so the SPLUMA is the overarching law countrywide that talks to how equitable access to resources, opportunities, and services across urban and rural areas is being used by municipalities. And there are specific policies for each individual municipalities as they are independent legal institutions that has been put in place, adopted by council, and are gazetted for every one of us to know how to regulate or how to operate within a particular municipal jurisdiction. On integrated spatial planning, so SPLUMA has mandated municipalities to develop spatial development frameworks, and municipalities are made to ensure that they address historical imbalances. So as you were listening to the discussions that were being held here, you will understand that this is a framework that is in place that guides how municipalities are supposed to regulate land. And there are clear guidelines on what the future developments are supposed to look like and what has informed that. So you go into a professional research process where you undertake studies with professionals to help you determine as a municipality how your development should roll over a period of time. So it will tell you based on the geographic patterns, based on your geological condition, what development is supposed to go where, under which conditions, and those are legally available from municipalities and available for all of us. And SPLUMA again talks to land use management that I had spoken to, and on public participation and inclusive planning. What I need to emphasize here is, Chair, public participation is central to local government. There is no work that we do in the local government space that we don't go through public participation, because we are held accountable to the public, by the public, for the work that we do. And the intention is to be inclusive in all the work that we do. So municipalities are held by the law to ensure that there is a clear voice of communities in the plans and the budget allocation of municipalities. Of course, we are not, as municipalities, able to meet all the budgetary requirements and needs of our municipalities at a go. But over the 5-year period, we can clearly articulate and explain how we had expanded and how we had expanded based on what our public consultation processes have told us. Again, issues of basic and service infrastructure, Commissioner, we are able to explain through that process of inclusive planning how we have, especially to undeserved and rural region, how we are making basic services accessible to them, such as water, sanitation, electricity, and transportation. I want to go through, and then again we deal with environmental sustainability, where we're making sure that again in consultation with our communities, we develop sector plans that deals with environment. So they become part of sector plans that form part of the IDP that clearly tells you what the environmental natural resources are, and we are promoting green spaces and ensuring that there is sustainable land use practices. So there are environmental management plan that municipalities will have, and every 5-year term, we make sure that we review them to make sure that they continue to be aligned. So as an institution, we support our municipalities where they find themselves shortfall of expertise to develop some of these bylaws or some of these policies. We normally call them bylaws. And so municipalities are also mandated by law to develop these bylaws, as I mentioned, to regulate such spaces. That also speaks to human and housing settlement, where municipalities are responsible to facilitate. You will note, Commissioner, that there are municipalities that have got the license to provide houses, but there are municipalities in the main, in their majority, they are responsible to facilitate through the department, either in the province or nationally, to ensure that there is housing provision. So again, this also helps in promoting issues around, reducing segregation and promoting spatial integration. I'm not going to go much into that. And at the heart of the work we do is the coordination with other spheres of government, or the coordination within the intergovernmental sphere, where what we do is then to bring different parties to participate in different processes within municipality, either to resource them with monetary resources or expertise to ensure that the machinery at a local municipal level or district level is well oiled and we are all able to enjoy the services that we have. So there are several other policies that we work with that we might want to make reference to, but I'm not going to go much into them because I want to focus a bit on the study that we have done and conducted during the previous financial year that we are now enacting, that talks to alignment between social labor plans and within the mining sector and municipal IDPs. So let me disclose upfront that this is a study that was done countrywide. So there are specifics that are for the province, in particular municipalities where we were able to source information. As you know, these studies are timed. So if within that time we were not able to receive information, we do make mention. We can actually make the study available for yourself for further referencing. But here I'm just going to give you the highlights of what the study entails. So the intention of the study was really to assess the extent of alignment between the SLPs and the IDPs, and to determine the causal factors for misalignment in cases where such misalignment exists, and to determine the level of compliance of the current SLPs, to determine the efficacies of consultative processes in the development of the SLPs themselves, to assess participation of municipalities in the review process of SLPs. So you'll see we're leaning more towards just understanding how we are deriving benefit from the SLPs as municipalities, and to further explore opportunities for municipalities to enhance local government involvement in the development of these SLPs. So in the main, we found that most SLPs are not aligned to municipal SLP priorities and development objectives. So we set for ourselves as municipalities certain objectives that we want to achieve within a particular period, and we expect SLPs to plug themselves into our developmental objectives. Because you remember, because we are representatives of the community, whatever happens at community level, we take responsibility. Hence, Commissioner, if I can just step aside a bit from this, you would find that we have community unrest that are directed at municipalities on functions that don't belong to municipalities, because communities do not know any other function or any other government that gives them services beyond municipalities. So hence this study was important to us. So the kind of interventions that we are suggesting to effect alignment within the study that we had undertaken, taking into consideration our mandate. So we intend to provide the following intervention in the mining communities, particularly where mines are mining in our communities. So we'll be providing support and advice, capacity building, and lobbying and advocating for the interest of our municipalities. So we are currently providing capacity building for councillors. It's an ongoing process, and officials on MPRDA, and it covers contents around the regulation, the guideline, SLPs, alignment with IDP, the type of projects to be implemented, monitoring of the SLP, endorsement letters. So we really are taking them through the process of just ensuring from a policy and a document perspective there is compliance, because that is what then legally holds us binding to each other. So we have identified the various challenges and stakeholders that we are taking on board. The DMRE is one of them, councillors and officials, mining companies and traditional authorities, especially because we are in the main country that is located within traditionally managed areas. So we thought it's important as a cohesive approach to ensure that inclusion. So the issues that we are recommending in the undertaking that we'll be doing, and what then becomes what we want to focus on, is that IDPs and SLP should be made available for all stakeholders to access, which will include municipal websites, DMRE website, mining companies' websites, and community facilities where possible to encourage transparency. And municipalities should continuously strive to develop a conducive economic environment for business and communities to coexist with each other. So municipalities again should facilitate access to employment for local residents by interacting with business operating in their respective jurisdiction. I think you'll realize this response to one of the respondents who was here, or community member who was here, was representing a business forum from a particular community from Maragala this morning. So SLPs should also be used as a tool to develop local economies and to promote transformation. And because previously SLPs were being used more as a social welfare function, and we are recognizing the opportunity that is missed from utilizing the SLP to grow the economies, because in the main what we are looking for, and which is what your request is, how are we taking care of the interest of communities within mining areas? So mining companies are to support the transformation agenda and to empower local members and local SMMEs within their plans. So here we're opening up a platform where we're saying through transparent measures and in partnership with the municipalities and the various stakeholders, we want to be transparent in recognizing who needs to be empowered and how that empowerment will take place, so that we are also able to document and also form part of the data collection in the main, whether for academia or even for business or for economic trajectories, to be able to monitor and see how we are growing our economy in partnership with the mines. So the last one was around how municipalities should develop and enforce bylaws to protect the community. This is one area that really we have been very weak at. We have not really been enforcing our bylaws as municipalities for both communities, businesses, and the environment at large. So we will be giving you this response in writing as well, and we'll also support it with the study that we are referring to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. You can take over with your panel.
Thank you. We're going to start with, apologies, with the SLO. Then we move to the provincial manager, then myself. Then we'll give you an opportunity to then answer those sets of questions or then further engage on the remarks we've made.
Thank you very much. Councillor, in your submissions, you talk about the review of the municipal environmental management plans. Just want to know more, what does that process entail? Are we talking about the environment in general, or you were linking it with somehow mining activities? That's the first issue, or just that's the first question. Second question relates to your role and function. You indicated that you support, you advise localities in various manners to promote and sustain development in communities. I want you to reflect on the submissions from the municipality that gave testimony before you, and maybe indicate if some of the issues they were alluding to, was the SALGA print also in some of the aspects that we're talking about, in as far as your advices, your support?
Thank you, Chair. I'm sitting here trying to think about the question that I should ask. I think today I think you have assisted us a lot as Human Rights Commission, and I believe that the mandate of SALGA is written and is clear. And when I'm listening, indeed, you have a very clear mandate. But I've been working with the municipalities. I think all the municipalities in the province, district, and the local. And we have been, I think Mankes, my colleague, will attest to this. I've been asking myself, maybe looking at how our municipality, the dysfunctionality of our municipality in the province. I can give you example of what we just face right now. Some of the happenings with regard to the municipality, we have 2 municipalities that have not appeared here. And that goes deeper to what they are. So can you say to us proudly so that SALGA have a role to play, or SALGA is really assisting anyone? Because my understanding, we have protest after protest. SALGA is nowhere to be found. Municipality are dysfunctional. SALGA is nowhere to be found. All the intervention that you have mentioned here, can you say that they are effective? Or what is the extent of your powers in relation to the functioning of the municipality? If we have a municipality that is not delivering at all, and people are suffering because of the mining companies that are operating in their area, and the municipality is not there, it's nowhere to be found, or it's not doing anything, which powers do you have? We raised the concern with the previous presentation. You could feel that we are frustrated as the Human Rights Commission. Do you have anything that you can say you can make this intervention as SALGA? Or can you give us example of the intervention, not written intervention? Give us one municipality where you intervene as SALGA, and you see the improvement of service delivery under that municipality. So you can give us 2 if you have. You can give us whatever you have. We have only 25 municipalities. Give us, I need one, where SALGA was noted to be assisting this municipality to improve service delivery. 1 in the province, not 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank you, PM. I think that your presentation is well received, but there are some concerns and questions we have about it, and I think that the primary questions have been covered by the senior legal officer as well as the provincial manager. Mine is just to ask in respect of where do we separate SLPs and IDPs? You specifically spoke about participation processes and who owns them. In respect of SLPs, you said that is owned by mining companies, and in respect of IDPs, that is owned by politicians and ward councillors. I find it concerning that in the previous engagements with the local municipality, they seem to conflate those 2 processes and seem to then want to pass the buck to the mining company to fulfill municipality obligations. And I think it's troublesome from the Commission's perspective that once that happens, where is the transparency, where is the accountability, and where is the monitoring? This is in reflection of what community members have been saying today, that there appears to be a lack of proper consultation, participation, and engagement with the relevant communities, which results in this gap that we're talking about between engagements between mining communities and the mining companies itself. This then speaks to, unfortunately, the role of municipalities in bridging that gap, as well as the role of traditional leaders in bridging that gap. But I really want you to comment in that particular aspect, that as SALGA, when you are considering the advice you give to municipalities, how often do they come to you seeking advice before they engage in these relationships with other stakeholders which affect the communities, especially vulnerable communities that are relying on the municipalities to be their voice? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The first question that speaks to environmental bylaws within mining activities. So when we do the reviews of the environmental bylaws, or when we offer support in the compilation of environmental bylaws, it varies. In some municipalities, there are no mines. But in areas where there are mines, we do ensure that there is consideration that is being taken that deals with the mining activities, where issues such as fuel emission, climate change, or climate effects from the mining functions is also taken into consideration. The geological character of the area is also being considered in making sure that the environmental bylaws comprehensively do address or do bring to light the need for municipality to be considerate of what the environmental picture is flowing out to be. So, and you'll remember that the National Environment Management Act does provide a clear guidance on how it's supposed to be done. So in areas where we are able to do it in-house, we have done it quite substantially in the province. I think for more than 10 municipalities as Salga, we have supported, where we were saving them cost. But there would be specific areas that require specialists that would then advise for them to source those specialists. And then they will go and source out such, so that the bylaw is really comprehensive and it's cognizant of what the challenges on the ground are. And then coming to the function of our role and function in sustaining economic development, the case of Lephalale municipality. So I just want to make it very clear that the law, when it established Salga, it established us as a voice for local government. So the support we can give is support, as you can imagine. We do not in any way in a position to say do not do this, but we do make sure that we capacitate them sufficiently to ensure that they are able to discharge their mandate. And in doing that, we've gone an extra mile to really challenge, let me say, political parties to ensure that they provide to municipalities councillors that are competent enough to discharge of their mandate. But you'll realize that the electoral law of South Africa is not specific or it does not address the issue of literacy level, which in the main impacts on the kind of quality that we get. Just this morning, we were sitting with the Auditor General, where we were talking about the quality of our financial performance or of audit performance of our municipalities. And at the heart of it really is a question of leadership. And it is very clear from research over time that the better knowledgeable the political leadership is, the better performing that particular municipality is. And to be blunt about the work that we have done in supporting municipalities, you'll recall that the current crop of councillors that were brought on board, at least the mayor, the chief whip, and the speaker, were interviewed, and certain specific requirements were looked at in terms of their qualification. So you had to have a metric and a post-metric qualification to be either a mayor, a chief whip, or a speaker. That was the initiative of Salga, where we went to political parties and we presented to them some 3-4 years before the end of term, because we recognize that it is pointless for us to turn a blind eye on the fact that we sit with representatives from our communities who are elected not based on merit, but based on their ability to communicate with our communities. And we are grateful that government ultimately took our advice to heart. And we continue, Commissioner, to talk to the sitters to help us to ensure that our councillors really up their educational qualifications so that they can deal with issues that are on their tables. Municipalities are very complex institutions, and they are highly regulated. So you need people really who are not only just passionate about their communities, but who really can dig deeper into understanding the issues and not just take documentation at face value. So, and we are seeing a lot of progress. I don't want to mention statistics here, but we can provide you, if you so like, just that tells you the level of education we have improved and how that has actually improved deliberations, understanding, management, and providing leadership in municipalities. And I think by so saying, I was also addressing issues around dysfunctionalities of municipalities and how Salga is supporting them. Currently, I can give you an example of a municipality such as Mopani district that we have gone into, and we've really dug our hands deep into ensure that we move them out of a dysfunctional municipality into a municipality that is actually functional. And we see that with how the Auditor General has actually rated them, that from 10 years of disclaimers, ultimately they're now in a qualified state because of the support that we dedicated to them. We hired 3 interns, and we particularly ensured that for a full year they were supporting that municipality to ensure that they come out. And I need to make mention that this is not just about finance. It runs across all the municipal objectives on HR, technical community services, municipal manager, and political office bearers, so that we are ensuring that we support their specific needs, because the challenges in Capricorn will not be the same challenges as what you would find in Elias Motswaledi. So the challenges vary, and where we are able to plug ourselves in and provide the necessary support, we do, and we have seen a lot of improvement. Auditor General will tell you that Limpopo is one of the most improved in as far as how they are running their municipalities is concerned, and mainly because of the partnership we have with Coxter, Treasury, and Office of the Premier in ensuring that we move our municipalities out of dysfunctional municipalities. And we do not currently have any disclaimers. So the one municipality that is currently dysfunctional in the province is the one that has got political challenge, and that spills into administration. And that's really beyond our call of what our mandate requires. And we do not have powers in any way to overhaul municipal operations. All what we ensure is that we scan the environment sufficiently with our partners to ensure that we interpret and understand the kind of support a particular municipality requires, and we then, in agreement with that particular municipality, go into that space to ensure that we offer the necessary support. And in cases where it's necessary, really, we are in a position to go an extra mile of providing in a stakeholder to support. There are minds that have availed their own expertise to come and support. It's unfortunate Feta Home is not here today to really present their case, but there are those cases where the minds have brought in their human capital to support municipalities. So I think I've also provided examples on SALGA interventions and the separation between IDP and SLP. As I mentioned, IDP is a legal document in a municipality. There is no project a municipality desires, and let me say in inverted commas, a municipality would not want to implement a project outside of the IDP. So in the IDP, we have a list of projects that municipality would want to implement in a particular term of 5 years. So in the one financial year, they would have mentioned what their budget would cater for. So the budgets of municipality are either funded by Treasury, or they are funded by their own funding, where you and I pay water and electricity, grants, or stakeholders such as mines. That is where the mines will then plug themselves into what will be in an SLP. So the SLP will contain projects that were developed during the IDP process, because the IDP is a community consultative process where the community then expresses what their needs are, and the municipality technically looks at those needs and looks at what is feasible, what meets their objectives from their overall plan of what they want to achieve. And the mine will then come on board and partner with the municipality to ensure that what is in the IDP is implemented. Now, part of making sure that the IDP are well implemented and monitored is what we call the service delivery and budget implementation plans, where each of the senior managers, senior municipality has a clear plan that says, this is what they need to deliver within a financial year, and this is how. The how is how many people or the kind of human resource they have, and the budgetary allocation and the time within which they will do it. So the timing will also tell the different activities that they will undertake in order to come to a point where a project would have been implemented. So that is where the monitoring of what the money and whatever partnership there is a municipality will have will be monitored to ensure that there is actual delivery in that space. And this is where then the issue of transparency and accountability comes into place, where municipalities quarterly go back to communities again to report back on progress that they are making. So at times it's not just a quarterly thing, but as and when there are imbizos, we have ward committees and street committee members who are continuously supposed to be reporting to communities. So it varies from one environment to another, as you would know that as human beings we operate differently, but we have councillors, we have ward committees, we have street committees. All these structures are established to communicate between the community and the municipality, either on what the community desires or on what the municipalities would have delivered based on the promises they made during the IDP and public participation process. And you will have the mayor's outreach through imbizos, different program ministers visiting to report back on progress and to continue engaging with communities at different levels. And whether municipalities consult with SALGA prior to any project implementation. At SALGA, we have consultative structures through our governance structures, where every quarter we actually do have standing meetings with all politicians in their different portfolios, where we consult with each other, we advise each other, and we provide a platform where we are able to share and discharge the mandate of SALGA, and we bring on board our development partners as well to continue ensuring that the local government sphere continues to function properly. I think I have tried my best.
Yeah, thank you. I was listening, but it sounds, most of the things that you are saying, to me, are things that that were supposed to be done. You are not telling us exactly what we have done. We have crises. I'm sure that our municipality, I don't want to mention them, but I can give you out of my head. I can tell you. I was talking about Mukhalakwen. We have crises there. Many crises. The municipality is dysfunctional. Today we are engaging, and we have already decided, commissioner, that we are taking them to court. But we just want to understand, what is the role of SALGA? We are going to spend money to protect the rights of people from Makhwele Ring because of sewage spillage and other issues. But the role of SALGA, now we are talking about the violation of human rights. You go to Fita Home, mining companies are mining, being given permission by the municipality. You heard when we cannot even draw the line between a private company and the municipality. All that where are you? I cannot locate you in the governance structures of the country. I want to see you somewhere there. If you say the municipality, I think that is the lowest level of the government, where people engage the government and they get service from the municipality. SALGA, where are you there? Because you don't have even power to intervene. You say you are guiding. Which guidance if we can't see the results for the past maybe 10 years? If people have been protesting for more than a month, they go to Madishaditor. People are protesting for other issues. You know that people protest to the nearest government arm, a level, which is the municipality. Whether the issue is nationally or provincial level, it doesn't matter. Our people do not know about this arrangement, but they see this municipality as the government structure where they can raise their issues. We can't blame them for that. But where are you? I'm repeating that question because I'm struggling to find you in this hierarchy. So where are you? What do you do? If people tomorrow, if people are protesting and the municipality is not responding, are you in the position to ask why you're not responding? Or you just leave them, they will protest until. So that is what we are facing. So maybe I'm asking this because I have been I've been struggling to find a way in which we can formally have that kind of relationship with SALGA. And nationally, we agree that we must have that kind of relationship. But I cannot see myself how I will use them to improve service delivery in the province. Because we don't know exactly how you will assist us when we are having crisis with Mukhalakwen. I would like to approach you and say, look, these are the crises. Then we improve service delivery through your office, and then we engage each other, then we take a collective action if it need be. And then I want to see how we can use you to protect human rights, if indeed you are pro-human rights institution.
I think mine is a simple ask. It's simply, I note what you said about the IDPs as well as SLPs. And I go back to this because you do not want a government that is heavily reliant on business to fulfill its constitutional mandate to its people. It creates a distrust amongst the people that that very same leg of government or arm of government will hold that business accountable. And that is the debate that we're having earlier on with the previous municipality. I would want to understand that IDP process is very unique in its nature and requires a particular type of consultation process with its members, as well as an SLP is also a very unique process because those are two different legal documents that are signed by two different entities when they say, when the municipality says this is what we're going to do for our people in respect of our budgetary constraints, and this is submitted to Treasury for them to then give them specific funds as well as grants. I understand that local government is heavily regulated. Now, the SLPs are a different agreement. It's an agreement between the mining companies and the community members that it falls in. This would require not only municipalities coming in and saying, we are speaking on behalf of our members in terms of IDPs. It would require another consultative process between the relevant stakeholders. And oftentimes we have received complaints that the IDPs are not what we anticipate them to be or envision them to be. It's merely a checklist by local government to fulfill its obligation to government. I also note that you're talking about capacity of those who are running the municipality. And we note that there have been improvements in respect of the interview process. But when the IDP process is so complex that we as members of the commission, I'm talking about myself now, I was unable to fully understand and comprehend what is required of me in respect of a budget. By law, I'm not a mathematician and I'm not an accountant, and that's why I'm a lawyer. Ask any lawyer about numbers, we run and we hide. If that process is difficult for people who have a bit of know-how, how is the ordinary man supposed to then participate genuinely in the IDPs and then have that reflected as part of obligations that the mining companies then say to government, these is what we will fulfill for the community? You know, my understanding is that a mining company would come into the community and say, we note that this is what government is doing, but this is what we're offering in terms to alleviate what we are doing to the environment. So in respect of water treatment, in respect of moving schools and building other schools, it's not supposed to be a parental figure to collapsing municipalities. I was very, you know, at some point there's the difficulty between the local municipality in respect of how does a municipality hand over a project to you, then expect you to pay them a specific amount of loan? How are those interrelated? Was that an SLP that was then given back to the municipality in order for them to fulfill their IDPs? And that's why I said I need that separation between what IDPs are, because that belongs to municipalities and their legal document, and what SLPs are, because those belong to mining companies, and that's their contractual agreement to the people on the ground. Thank you.
So in attempting to explain to Dr. Mabidula, just where Salga features, as I mentioned that, and I've read directly from what the Constitution established us to be as a voice and a support to municipalities. And just to cite for you, to contextualize it, as you're talking about community protests, if you look at what communities are protesting on, you may find that they would need water, they would need schools, they would need hospitals. If you go and look at the mandate of a municipality, it is neither to provide any of those. And those are functions that are either at a national level or at a provincial level. So what we then do, we plug into the intergovernmental relations function as local government to engage those spheres of government. So that's why you will every now and then have MBSOs from mayors where they have, or they're accompanied by MECs, they're accompanied by...
Can you allow me to interject here a little bit?
Okay.
through your chair. Those imbizos, we understand they are being organized by different departments and all, but we are concerned. What is the, when you say we plug into the interrelationship, what do you mean? What does it mean? And who benefit out of that? We have 25 municipalities.
27.
27.
Yes.
Can you take us through?
I gave
We
you-
had a crisis in this municipality. This is what we have done. Because if we just give a presentation of the best setup, the setup that is not benefiting anyone. Yes, it has been called to exist by the Constitution, but should we continue having a situation where we just have institutions that are not even responding to the needs of our people? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. So what is where is Salga here?
Okay.
We can't fold our arms or sit back as the Human Rights Commission when people are crying about service delivery. But we have this institution. We attend to those protests. We attend to those service delivery issues by the local people. But we can't find Salga anyway. It can't even assist any. We just know that it exists. What it does, what they do, we don't know.
Okay, let me give you an example as you are requesting. I gave you an example of Mopani, and let me zoom into Mopani. Mopani has been having challenges in managing their finances and delivering on their projects for more than 10 years. And what we then do as intervention, we do an assessment of what the challenges are. And that assessment is informed primarily by the Auditor General's outcome report, where she specifically mentions where are the areas of challenges. And you will find irregularities and wasteful expenditure mentioned there. And I need to make mention, Commissioner, that of the 100% fiscal allocation of the country, only 10% is given to all 257 municipalities in the country. You can go and verify that. It's facts that are there on National Treasury. So if we have 100 billion, only 10 billion is given to local government, 257 of us to fulfill our mandate. So what happens to the rest of them is shared between provinces and national. So with that much, that's what we are able to offer service delivery on. And hence the intergovernmental relation function is very critical to bring on board the others to support us. So we went into Mopani district, and one of the key areas that we found was that they were not able to bill provincial governments to pay them. So billing provincial government is where schools and hospitals and government offices are in a particular municipal area, and they are supposed to pay rates and taxes, or they are supposed to pay for water and electricity, and that was not being done. So we then paid them for peer learning with Makudu Tamar that had been able to claim 100 million from the province, and were paid for what the different institutions like schools, like I mentioned clinics and hospitals, and that increased on their fiscus and enabled them to further perform some of the functions that they could not perform because of the low revenue base that they would have. So those are just to cite the kind of and that is why we are not in the public eye to be seen to be doing what we are doing. And that is not the intention of Salga's establishment, to be known to be doing this particular function. So for instance, what we do, and what I'm trying to explain to you, is that we do the coordination function in the main to ensure that in the main where there are gaps, we are then able to bridge that gap between our municipalities and third parties and ensure that that function takes place, particularly where we're bringing in politicians into the picture. We are performing that particular function, and hence you are able to see improvement in the municipality that I'm referring to. You'll go to a municipality like Skukune district that was not able to process their water transactions. And what that means, it means that because they are water services authority, they have a function to deliver water to their local municipalities, and they must bill them because they sell them that water, they must be paid back. So running that function, it's a complicated, it's a technical function, let me put it that way. And you need to be able to reconcile between the district and the local municipality so that when they are supposed to pay the invoices, there is an agreement between the two of them. So we do come into that space, we interface, and we make sure that where there are challenges, we bridge, an agreement between them, and where there is expertise that are lacking, we then bring in our own expertise and explain it to them. Today, as I'm speaking to you now, we are having a national meeting where we are dealing with water tariff disputes with NERSA. NERSA is a national electricity regulator. They have increased substantially the electricity tariffs for all of us, and we are saying they are outside the affordability of our people, and we are taking them to court on that basis. So we have been engaging with the AfriForum as well, where we're taking the matter to Parliament. So we continue to interface between our municipalities and the process by firstly collecting data from our members and by making sure that they understand what this means and by responding to what their challenges are and then engaging with Parliament or whichever other organization that is raising issues with them. And as I'm speaking now, that meeting started at 4 o'clock where we're reporting back and we are engaging with municipalities on a way forward and where we need to source legal expertise. And you will find us in Parliament actually challenging a lot of the acts that municipalities are supposed to be implementing. Like I'm mentioning, the 10% allocation that we have from the fiscus. We've taken it back to government and saying the functions of municipalities are 46% of what the Constitution had provided for us. But our fiscus allocation does not tally with that. Those are areas where you'll find us. Even now, I can enlist to you so many other activities that we're engaging on. Hence, I'm saying because it's not in the public eye. And I'm extending a hand to you. If you want to go and meet with Magalakwena, we can arrange a meeting for you with Councillor Tawiatala and the Troika there. And I'm sure we are the fastest that can do that together with Coxton, for you to get into that space and ensure that whatever it is that you desire out of that meeting, you are in a position to get. So the issue of capacity of municipal management, as I had mentioned that we could only go so far. And that's precisely what we have done. Hence, I'm saying we pride ourselves. And most of our mayors that are currently now mayors, we are ensured. So not only did we go to the political parties to say, please ensure that the speaker, the mayor, and the chief whip at least have grade 12 and a post-qualification qualification, a post-metric qualification. But we came back and ensured that we prepared them. We have an arrangement with UJ, we have an arrangement with various other universities, Wits University, for instance, University of Western Cape, where we're taking them through educational processes to ensure that we build that capacity. Because these people represent our institutions. Like Councillor Mpe is not here because he's with Putin. He was with Putin over the weekend for a partnership. He needs to be able to comprehend the economic space of Polokwane to engage with Russia for an economic partnership. So he needs to have a certain level of capacity, and we've taken it upon ourselves to ensure that we build that kind of capacity. And you can do a research and you can go and look at the documentation of the HSRC that talks to both the violation of the rights of our councillors and the reasons why. It gives you a picture of how the capacity, the lack of capacity and the capacity that is being built amongst our political office bearers who ultimately have oversight over municipal businesses actually affects the outlook of our municipalities and the kind of intervention that they recommended for us to do and the kind of intervention that they have seen us doing over time. So I'm extending an olive branch and saying, wherever you have challenge, try us, Mr. Mavidula, and call us next time to say, we made that undertaking, have we delivered on our promise or not?
Thank you so much for those engagements and remarks. From the panel side, we don't have any further questions. If you have any remarks you'd like to state before you step off the podium, you may. If you don't, then you are duly excused. You may still from the podium. Thank you. Oh, perhaps I was waiting for us to have dinner. Before I say the invitation is accepted, but the olive branch is accepted, and we will have those deliberations outside this inquiry. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think now it's time that you give remarks and adjourn this.
We stood down a municipality representative from Mogalakwena. Can they please then advise us whether, because we have not received any communication from the municipal manager, can they please assist us in just advising us what is the position of the representative of the Mogalakwena municipality, and then so that we can just have that aspect covered before I make my closing remarks.
The roving mic is on your way, colleagues from the Mogalakwena municipality, to advise the chairperson. Okay, kindly come to the podium.
Afternoon, whether it's evening, I'm not sure. No, the MM will come and present. I don't know if, obviously it's tomorrow, so you'll give him a slot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. PM, are we satisfied with that explanation that the municipal manager will come tomorrow and present?
Colleagues, this is a hearing. We can't just agree, because there are those who have been, you have seen the program. We have those who have requested that they want to come in this particular day, and looking at the program the way it is, we will try to engage the panel, each other, to see if we cannot squeeze them tomorrow or we can do it on Wednesday.
Okay.
Because if we agree now, and we can't just say when they arrive in the morning, we must compromise everyone who had been here waiting to make a presentation, then we rush for them. We will give you the time if it is possible during this hearing. If it's not, don't have any problem maybe to arrange another date. That will not be fighting. It's just because maybe you are not ready. But the issue here is that if the MM confirm that he will come tomorrow, obviously his presentation might take a bit longer, because obviously we'll engage him why he didn't come, because we don't have any reason. Those people who are sitting here, they also have their diaries. But when they realize that is the commission that is calling them, they compromise. I think we must respect other people. It goes with respect. So Mogalakwena must also join must understand that you are not only dealing with them. You can look at the program. We have so many private companies who are supposed to be giving us problem, but they are the ones that are they are cooperative more than any other any other institution. So we will let you know. I think you can exchange your numbers with our SLO. When we have decided, we will give you the time, so that the time and the date, because we still have 2 days, so that we can say, okay, he can come tomorrow or he can come on Thursday. But we will get back to you maybe in the next few minutes after the adjournment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think, okay, please come and give your final remarks for the day and show us the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, we call the end to the first day of the inquiry. Thank you for the attentive attention that you've paid to the inquiry. Thank you for the robust engagement that we had with those who have presented before us today. I give you this opportunity to rest your minds, then come tomorrow so that we can further engage in this inquiry. Once again, this is the Human Rights Commission. I am Commissioner Magwasha. I will then wait for you to join me tomorrow when we take this inquiry a bit further. Tomorrow we have the mining companies and some of the other stakeholders engaging. So please, let's take that a bit. It's going to be a very long day tomorrow. Let's rest our minds, and I then officially call day one closed. See you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.